Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 180. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Boy, you must do my bidding.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo.
Brian Manjoma.
I am the only one who has not played God of War here.
Brett Murdoch.
Oh, la-di-da. Brian thinks he's cooler than all of us.
And Adam Vale.
God of War is based on a true story.
Yeah, man. Took place in downtown Brooklyn, man.
Yeah, damn right. Shit's hard. You know, they changed up the names like usual, but...
Yeah, what's going on, people? Dip Dop Doopity, he said notification squad. Good. Notifications are working. That's fantastic. You know? Yeah, we were having a pretty good conversation about the God of Wars. And we're going to talk about, actually, you guys asked us a lot about God of War, so we're going to get into it right now. This first one is not about God of War. Okay, this is from G Megaforce 123, and this is actually his sister asking this question. And Manny, I want you to answer this one. All right? So his question is, or her question is it worth playing the original Metal Gear Solid after having played Twin Snakes? I played Twin Snakes back in the day without really knowing much of the series. All I knew was that it was a remake of the first game with elements taken from Metal Gear Solid 2. So should I go and play the original Metal Gear Solid, or am I good only having played Twin Snakes?
Well, story-wise, you're fine. You get to know all the information that game actually has. But personally, I think the original Metal Gear Solid 1 is actually a lot better than the one made by, who was that? The guys that made Silicon Knights. Because I feel like there's a lot of things in there that they kind of took liberties with that I don't agree with. Mostly because a lot of the cinematics in there are kind of meh. They're kind of these like ultra action hero things where Snake is fucking back flipping off of a missile and shit. So story wise, yes, it's fine. You can just go on to the next ones. Other things wise, I would say the first one would be good to play, but you don't kind of need to play it if you already know the story. So, yeah.
No, the GameCube one, I skipped that one for the same reasons that Manny just mentioned. I saw the trailer and he was doing backflips off of missiles and all this action hero shit, and they changed the soundtrack and they re-recorded the voice acting, and the music is not as good as the PlayStation one.
So yeah, like there's a lot of things in the PlayStation one that are really good and well done, and I wish that they were in the Twin Snakes version. And then there's a lot of things in Twin Snakes I wish they didn't put in there. Like for one of the things, this is just a personal gripe, but okay, the dock when you first come into out of the submarine, and there's like two guards in there, and you have your main goal. It's the tutorial level. Your main goal is to get to the end of the dock to get to the elevator. It's to train you how to use the game. Whenever you get seen by the guards, no other guards show up, all that other good stuff, right? So you can pretty much kill off the two guards, and there would be nothing happening. In Twin Snakes, the dock is messed up, and essentially when you get seen, all of a sudden guards start coming from the side of the dock that there is no ladders or elevators on, so it's just plain water, and just waves of guys just keep on coming, and they didn't realize that. There's a lot of other little gripes like that in the game that are just like, yo, guys, come on.
Yeah, that one seemed to me like it was trying to be a John Woo movie. It's like, what?
Yeah, the cinematics were all directed by the guy who did Versus. So that's why they were really over the top, and like Snake is like doing kick battles and all kinds of other goofy shit. It's because that guy's like like insane anime type of action that he puts into stuff. So that's my biggest gripe with it. It's like it's like the Michael Bay version of Metal Gear Solid.
Oh man, that's not good. All right, man. Go ahead.
But the story, if you've known the story, and I feel like that's fine as far as things go. But I really think the original game is better, even though it's it looks like black people talking to each other. But I feel like that a lot of the voice acting in that one's a lot better. A lot of other things are a lot better in that. But yeah, there you go.
All right, cool. All right, next question. This is an interesting one. Okay, why are AI characters always nagging you to move faster? I've been playing a bunch of different games lately, and they all seem to have two things in common. One, they feature collectibles. Two, they feature AI characters who nag you incessantly to speed up while you're looking for collectibles. Why do developers think this is a good or fun idea? I know developers seem to think having characters nag you about how urgent everything is helps build a sense of urgency. It doesn't. But if you're going for urgency, why even put hidden collectibles in your game? Either you want people to search the environments or you don't. Very good question.
That's
Thank
common.
you.
You get that a lot.
That's a great question.
Like,
Yeah.
Dude, that shit's happening in God of War right
It
now.
happens. It happens in God of War.
It happens in
When
God
you
of War
start-
too.
when
I can't tell you how many times it's like, up here, I'm like, motherfucker, do you not see the chest down the left? It's right fucking there.
Dad, you know I lost my glasses.
I think the yeah, like for God of War, it does that quite a bit. Like Atreus is always saying, "Hey, go this way," and then he goes, "Oh, I guess we're going that way." I'm like,
Yeah, but God of War is definitely not the only game guilty of that. Every game does that, and it is very
Yeah.
fucking annoying.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
"You're
okay, it's
going
like
the wrong way."
yeah, but that's a good question. It's like okay, if you want people to rush the game, why even have collectibles in the first place? You know, yeah, it's very annoying. Yeah, Atreus does that, but at the same time, Atreus does also tell you where hidden things are. Sometimes, you know, sometimes,
tell
but he does get on some bullshit though, where he's just like, "We've been standing here a long time, man. I'll come over here and slap the shit out of you, man."
or one time he goes, "Wow, that fight took a lot longer than I expected." I'm like, "What? Shut up! Will you fight this shit?"
I really wish you could slap Atreus in this game.
Yes, man. Adam, what were you gonna say, man?
What was I gonna say? Oh no, yeah, a lot of games do this. But you know what? I noticed if there's no time on it, like let's say there's no little time clock saying, "Hey, you got like 3 minutes," then I don't rush. Especially when I've learned about that from playing Call of Duty. There's some parts where there's explosions and there's also that they're coming, we gotta go, and they all run ahead. I just stay back and start looking around, and they keep screaming, and I'm like, "There's no time clock. I know the guys aren't gonna rush us because that's not how this section works."
By the way, that was me and Tony to Adam on Destiny 2.
That's right.
That's it. Yeah. You're like, we gotta go. Wait, I see some over here. No, we gotta go. Look, these guys. Nope. Just play the elevator music.
You're running into corners like an idiot. I kind of even did that in my stream.
Gotta look for stuff. That's it.
I'm looking around. I'm like, "Silence, boy. I'm looking for things."
Yes, but yeah,
That's what fucked me up about Far Cry is those guys will actually run forward and they will die.
Oh shit!
Like several times in Far Cry, I was like, "I'll get there in a minute," and I show up and I'm like, "Oh, this is just four bodies."
You gotta look for that blue crosshair, man. Every time I look for shit and they're running around, I'm like, blue circle. I'm jumping out of a window, like, oh shit, who fell over?
Yeah,
I'll even meet your companions. Yeah, when your companions go down, but I mean, like, there'll be like a person like a kidnapping victim quest that'll pop up. And you're like, all right, I'm coming. And they're like, oh, Wolverine, oh no. And then you get there, and like, but you crest the hill just in time to hear a gunshot, and like the quest icon disappears, and there's just like a dead guy laying there, and you're like, oh, son of a bitch. I know if I stand here for 5 minutes, another random hillbilly will just come cresting over the rise and replace that quest giver. But still, it's like you're running up to the thing, and it actually happened. And to a certain extent, as annoying as it is, I love that in Far Cry because it doesn't do that trope thing. And oh, by the way, that's something that only happens in tag-along games. Never happened in God of War before. You know why? Because you didn't have somebody else fucking tagging along with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is why he says AI people in general, you know?
They always do that shit. I know. Just remember 2 weeks ago when we were talking about how I wasn't excited about having Atreus as a tag-along.
No, you said
still not excited.
By the way, just to be correct, you said you didn't want Atreus as a
escort mission.
Escort mission, which it isn't.
We clarified that down to tag along, and I still you don't really have to escort him. He can get grabbed, but still, I just don't fucking like him there.
Oh, I had to save him at one point. Like he was laying on the ground. I'm like, yo, get up. And I just picked him up, and he was like, oh, thanks. I didn't even know that could happen. I thought he could just get grabbed.
Yeah, by the way, the whole actually, this is not a spoiler, but I noticed that the one part, because remember I told you guys, Mike, Atreus only got grabbed once for me in the entire game. He got grabbed again during the same spot, which lets me think it's a scripted thing. You know.
That was early on. Then.
Yeah, it was very early on. Yeah.
No. I've completely ignored him. If an enemy gets over to him, they can grab him.
Yeah.
Because most of the time I'm just like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, he's not gonna die anyway. You know.
Not helping that much.
By the way, I don't know if we answered this man's question because we can't know. We're not developers, but it is very interesting. We have noticed that in games. Like, why are you rushing me?
I think it's.
I know exactly what it is.
Hand-holding.
What happened, Carlos?
Maybe it's like their way of kind of hand-holding the player, telling them, "Oh, go this way, go this way."
Yeah, that is true.
That's
that's what
that's what it is. Is hand-holding because
a
lot of people.
2 reasons.
Yeah, and the other reason is obviously you need a game with like if you don't have collectibles, people are gonna fucking riot in the street.
No. The other reason is a lot of these games, they're not putting all that much. As somebody who walks through games that you generally should run through and goes slow through games that you generally should be rushed through, when you move slow, you start to see the reused assets. You start to see how things are put together and made of the same shit over and over and over and over again. Or in other games, you start to see, them using the environment to tell little stories, Fallout, Dark Souls, things like that. Actually, have interesting little things, or like you can walk around and be like, oh, like this place kind of burned down, or, there was a family in here. As I've been going through God of War, I've been paying very close attention to the background. There is not a lot of well-made level design. Maybe level design is the wrong word. There's not a lot of story told with the background. Even places where it was clearly like, oh, this is a village that was attacked. The layout of the bodies don't tell a story. The layout of the village doesn't tell a story. You can't Sherlock Holmes and kind of deduce what happened there. They just tell you, oh, this village was attacked, and there's like 3 barns, and there's bodies just kind of seemingly randomly strewn about. They don't really take the time to let the environment tell the story. And I'm not sure if that's because they're already rushing you, or because they're rushing you because they don't want you to poke around in one place too long. They want you to see a shiny thing, run for it, and then move on. Even the pacing of the game, like, it's very difficult just to walk in this game.
How's that?
The window for walking is very small. Like you pretty quickly ramp up speed and move to a jaunt or a jog pretty quickly. If you actually want to very slowly, just kind of like, methodically or dramatically move towards somebody as you're ready to, but like when I fight people, like one of my kind of things is I'll slowly move towards them until they come at me or swing a sword or something like that, and then I'll either dodge or I'll parry, and then I'll go into a vicious onslaught of offense. But I usually kind of tease out the first strike from an enemy. And so that usually involves, kind of a very slow plodding forward, kind of waiting for them to make their move kind of thing. And I've noticed even just the joystick window in this, like it's really hard to move at a slower pace. And there's several times, like when you're moving, going across ledges, you're either stopped or you're moving at full speed. So everything about the game is geared towards move. And a lot of the design is geared towards move. Even the collectibles themselves, they're shiny. You can see them from like 100 yards back. You can look down a hallway and be like, nope, nothing down there. 90% of the time, all the chests glow. So everything about this game is said to be move. And I think that what they're trying to get you to do is move through the environments quickly, but ignore Atreus at random times. Or in other games, that's what they're trying to do, is when they're rushing you along, they don't want you to stop and inspect the game too much because the details don't really hold up. Whereas
they don't matter,
I think it depends on, like, if you're trying to get one of those magical chests, then you have to stay around and look, to shoot the 3 little markers.
Yeah.
Open up those chests.
Yeah, but even in any of those rooms, you can't look around and, like, you can look around the room and not tell it's a wrecked room. What happened there?
Yeah, but again, for this game, that doesn't really matter. Those kind of things doesn't. I mean, God of War has never really been like that anyway.
They have. I mean, back in the old days of God of War, they did have those little bits of writing that used to accompany some of the dead bodies that were laying around. They kind of got rid of those in the later games.
Yeah, I mean, this one, there's some ghosts that kind of do that serve that same purpose. But yeah, we see that a lot in games. It is interesting how they have all this shit in a big open world for you to explore, yet the characters always try to rush you through. Or even the game itself will be like, go here, Go here, even if you don't have another character. It's like go
because
here's your
it's
next
a big
objective.
world, but it's barren, and they don't want you to notice that it's barren and they want you to keep moving through it quickly.
They should have done
That's what
that.
I'm telling you.
They should have done that with Zelda then. You know. But anyway,
Zelda kind of does. It's you know, the princess is waiting, and the problem was everyone was just like, yeah, she's been waiting for 100 years. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's true.
They didn't really succeed in delivering the sense of urgency, but they still, they're like, move, go, do stuff, hurry. Don't stop and look at the trees too much. Go. You'll just notice that they're all the same tree. Go. Just run down that. Everything looks good when you're running.
All right, let's move on. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Fatal Mephisto, who's in the chat. This man already got the platinum in God of War.
It must not be that difficult.
I heard you didn't have to do the difficulty.
Yeah, you don't. No difficulty trophies this time around.
What?
No difficulty trophies.
I'm guessing it's a collectibles trophy of this, right?
Yeah, it's like Horizon. It's like Horizon.
Ooh.
Yeah, like the challenges.
Fuck that noise.
Yeah, like the challenges are probably the only hardest thing. There's 2 worlds that you have to do some crazy shit. Other than that, yeah, pretty straightforward. You know, which is
so we're just giving everybody platinums now.
So what's the?
Well, not really. You know, a lot of people are not still not going to get the
platinums.
platinums.
Everybody gets a trophy. That's fine. I understand. That's the world
No,
we live
Brett,
in.
you know for a fact not everybody is going to get the platinum.
Not everybody's going to get the
I
platinum.
guarantee you that.
I'm
See?
not wasting my time on those collectibles.
People still don't even get the telltales.
No,
Not
everybody. Not everybody gets a trophy. Everybody who puts the time in and who wants one can get the trophy. Excuse me. There's a huge difference there.
There actually is, because not even everybody gets the platinum.
No, there isn't. There isn't. That's
no, not everybody gets a platinum in a Telltale game. Those you literally just beat them.
Dude, okay, no. Okay, if you play softball and you are on the world's shittiest team, but you go to all the games and you spend an hour at each one and you lose all your innings, do you deserve a fucking trophy?
The thing is that you're not losing anything.
Brett, you're getting mighty. Yeah. You're getting mighty metal. You never. How many platinums? You don't even have a single platinum. So why do you care?
No, this is why I don't have platinums, because they're just fucking time consuming. Like, yeah, I'll get a platinum. I'll try and platinum Cuphead.
But there's no platinum for that. It's not on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's true.
And you didn't platinum any of the Dark Souls games, man.
No, I didn't, because I don't like the save hacking that the rest of y'all did to platinum them.
Save hacking? There was no save hacking.
Yes, there was. That's how
you mean essentially re-putting your old save in to get the alternate ending to yeah. There was that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You're like, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I wasn't fighting these final guys on New Game Plus 3, man. Fuck that.
Oh no! Hey, to my credit, I did play the entire game from beginning to end 3 times, so I was justified in using that save hack at the end. You know.
Yeah. No, I only used the save hack on Bloodborne. I wasn't doing that shit. But...
Yeah, Dark Souls, I just didn't care.
The save hack ruined the plat for me.
But you don't care about plats anyway, dude.
Yeah.
So it can't ruin it for you. That's like me saying, "Oh, that soccer match was ruined." I don't like soccer. You know,
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
I like doing things that most gamers can't finish. The whole reason I want to play Cuphead is because only about 10% of people finish it.
There's a lot of challenges. It doesn't necessarily mean people are going to do it.
I guarantee you, not everybody's going to get the platinum in this shit.
Not everybody's going to get the platinum.
But why look for the vanity while you can always brag about it anyways?
Because then you can't prove it. Yeah, you got no proof to back it up.
Yeah, but I mean, you can. I mean, all the stories that you talk about, like Bloodborne and the Souls games, like.
Yeah, I mean, that's 80% of what I care about. That is 80% of what I care about. But like, it is also important to be like, yo, man, I beat Cuphead in like 6 hours. Like, if I say that shit, you need to be able to check that.
Oh, I don't. Can you check that?
Can you check what?
Like the time it took to beat.
Unless it's Chivo attached to it.
Yeah.
You can check total playtime though, can't you?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah,
definitely do that.
All right, man. Let's move on here, man. Is it Black Metal Gamer? Yeah, Black Metal Gamer's up. Okay, why do you think people gave so many huge passes to the Xbox 360 with its Red Ring of Death problem? Why did people keep rebuying it? Would this have been okay for the Xbox One? Or was this a problem that luckily people swept under the rug? We've talked about this a bunch of times. Basically, what other system were you buying at that point? The PlayStation 3 was overpriced, and Xbox had the hottest games, the best running games, so you were going to buy that shit. You know
exactly. So you know the sad thing about it is that they were the zeitgeist console, and at the same time, they had a full year of games to it, so they already had the install base. So once those red rings started happening, which were really close to launch, that those red rings were happening, people were still already invested and went in and bought another one, or after that they enacted the coffin, the coffin policy.
Yeah, exactly.
And not all of us were okay with that shit. That's
No,
why
not everybody was.
Yeah, but I know Carlos and Adam and Chris bought how many of those consoles and shit?
But mine's I had a few that got banned, and I had to get them. I had one that red ringed, but the other two got banned, so I had to just keep getting them.
Yeah, but we're talking about legitimately. Like, I know Chris, you bought 3 of them. Carlos, how many did you buy?
I bought
like 3, I think.
Yeah, see, 3 is like the minimum number. Yeah, exactly.
I bought 2. I bought a total of 3 because I bought one. No, I bought 2 because I bought one and then it red ringed, and then I bought another one, being like that clearly had to just be a one-off thing, and that thing red ringed too. I was like, "Fuck you! I'm buying a PlayStation."
Yeah, so Brett didn't give it a pass.
Yeah, Brett. So there you go. Brett didn't give it a pass.
A lot of people didn't give it a pass. I mean,
no, and that's why I didn't buy Xbox One. I was still mad about the red ring a generation later. It's not so much that I'm a pony. I just still am mad at Microsoft.
Yeah.
So the main issue with that one is that they kind of shoddily put that thing together.
No, it was and that's the problem. Like, nobody wants to talk about it, but from my understanding, the problem was they didn't vent the heat from that thing correctly, and that caused it to the heat was so bad that it caused the motherboard to actually curl, breaking the solder and therefore breaking the system. Like, that is a design oversight.
It was the bend.
People
that designed the board didn't know about the outer shell design and the bend, which meant that the case would be too close to the heatsink. It wouldn't give it enough space to breathe to get to the vents, so then it would overheat.
Which also is also a problem with the PlayStation 3 that nobody talks about. Same shit happens.
Oh, the yellow light of death, right?
The yellow light of doom. We call that one.
Yeah.
All of us have had it.
Oh yeah, the fat. Everybody's fat.
I still have my launch PS3. It's in my parents' house as a Netflix.
Brett, keep that around because few of those survived. Everyone I know, with the exception of you now, that bought the fat, they all fucking died.
My buddy,
mine is still alive.
The fat?
Yeah, he sold it for $100.
Oh shit. Yo, because like everybody's was dying, but no one talked about it. It's interesting.
Mine.
I think it's just the same thing with the red ring. I know people that have the original 360. Like, it never died. I mean, how often do you use it? I don't know, once every other month or whenever a good game. I mean, I was all right. So you didn't really put it to use.
You never played it.
Because remember, it was Dead Rising that was really pushing it, and it was killing people. Shit, it was actually killing their boxes just playing that game.
Yeah. So me, Chris, and Tony had it.
Yep. Yeah, mine lasted a year and a half, and then it just died.
Oh, wow, that was fast.
Yeah. So, and luckily for me, the new model came around, so I bought that.
But so yours was a newer model, anyways, right? It wasn't a launch PS3.
No, it was a 20 gig one with the emulated, the emulated backwards support. Yeah.
Yeah, but yours still did die though.
Yeah, it did.
It did die, and then
it died a year and a half later.
You did, but you did do the paste trick.
Yes, I did the soldering and paste thing just so I could get the memory off of it. That shit is crazy, man.
And we did the preventative measure on mine because I did have a weird crash at one point playing. I think I was playing Grand Theft Auto or something, and I was like, "Oh, Tony, I think this thing's gonna, is gonna kick it." So you're like, you know what? Let's do this, and you pulled it apart, and we put the new soldering paste on and everything, and then just closed it back up.
That's it, man.
And it lasted. Oh shit, mine lasted. Here's the hilarious one. I think we were still doing Throwdown. My PlayStation died the day that the PlayStation 4 was announced.
Oh,
it wasn't. And that when they had that thing, my PlayStation decided to die.
Did your PlayStation just go, "I leave it"?
Yeah, it's like that. Oh, I leave it. Oh.
Yeah. And then
it's in your hands
it's like,
now.
Did it say get a second job?
Yeah, get a second job. By the way, and the second part of the question is, would this have been okay for the Xbox One? No, because that shit cost too much fucking money.
Yeah, it had its own red ring, and it was called Connect. So
it wasn't okay with the first one.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. I guess the question should be: would people have been willing to sweep it under the rug like they did with 360?
No,
Did anybody sweep them under the rug? That was a big fucking.
I gotta
deal.
ask, who's asking this, and how old are they? Did you live through the Great Red Ring Crisis? Do you not remember?
Yeah, he bought it. He said he bought the system.
Yeah.
Okay, do you
So
not
what under the
remember?
rug?
Yeah, do you not remember everybody flipping their shit?
No,
Yeah.
not
Like, it was a
yeah.
huge, it was a story for a fucking year.
But
It
here,
started about 3 months after launch, and it went on for a year. And finally, because Microsoft wasn't repairing that shit at first,
And
they
no.
weren't even
Yeah,
they
they
weren't
weren't.
even offering you a repair. It was only due to the huge public outcry that a year after the problem started happening, they finally started sending out boxes and free repair kits.
I remember Amex was really coming down on Microsoft because if you have an Amex, they have one of those no questions asked, you get your money back, because a lot of stores were not giving their money back or giving exchanges for it. And they was just, yo, this is too much. And then they contact Microsoft and say, you have to do something because we're losing a lot of money here.
here's something I found interesting. Like, yeah, people were outraged about it, but at the same time, they joked about it. It's like, haha, I'm buying my fourth Xbox now. It's like
I don't know those people.
I knew,
No, I don't
I
know
know a
those
ton of them.
people.
I know those people.
I
Like
don't know those
they knew they were getting fucked in the ass, but
Are
they're like,
you sure those weren't PlayStation people making fun of Xbox
no,
people?
no,
Yeah, 'cause
no,
of
it
that.
wasn't. It was the actual Xbox. 'Cause remember, the PlayStation,
man.
the PlayStation was a big, huge joke at that point. PlayStation 3, everybody made fun of that shit, because it cost so much money.
The only time where people were not super flipping their shit about it was when before PlayStation came to market. There was the time when Xbox was out and PlayStation hadn't released yet, which was about that first year, where like especially like 4 months in, people were like, well, it's just the cost of next gen. Like because there wasn't another choice. They weren't happy about it. They forgave it because they wanted to play a next gen system, and they bought an Xbox. Like myself, bought an Xbox, was playing my games, I was enjoying myself, then my fucking Xbox died, and I was like, what the fuck? And Microsoft's go sit and spin, dickhead. And I was like, all right, well, fine, I guess I'll buy a second one. I'm still mad about it. I'm still not, but I do want to play next gen games, and all my friends are playing, so I'm going to buy another one, and I will give you more money, but fuck you, as I'm handing you $300.
Yeah, that's pretty much how everybody was. They knew it was fucking stupid, but they did it anyway.
Because there wasn't another option. But
Exactly.
It's not like there wasn't. It wasn't like there wasn't kickback, and it wasn't.
Oh,
like
no,
wasn't
there definitely
hostility.
was, but there
Like,
definitely
there
was.
was no
But
sweeping it under the rug. There was no Microsoft. Like,
But I know that
There was a little bit of
GameStop
that.
started giving off a deal. They were taking them back because they partnered up with Microsoft, and they were giving like 150 or something like that toward a new one. It still sucks, but at least you didn't have to pay for the full price. You can give them your bricked one, and they would take it. I remember that much.
yeah, once those goodwill programs started, that's when people were calming down a little bit. But there was a point I want everybody to remember the goodwill programs started because of the huge outcry. So there at the time there was enough people complaining that it changed Microsoft's policy. The same way with the announcement of the Xbox One, right? Like, it was big enough to change Microsoft's plans and to change their public stance on something, which by default kind of has to be a big deal. You can't say.
See, and this all brings up to the point of what we see now when people are like, oh, I don't know why all these people bitch online. It's not going to change anything. Damn right it does. It changes all kinds of shit. Why do you think people protest? These teachers that protest in Virginia, and people are like, oh, you can't protest. You know what? They got their 5% raise. You protest, and if you're loud enough and you have enough people backing it, you can make a difference. So it worked. We saw it like with the Battlefront with the microtransactions.
Yeah, Microsoft fans are hugely vocal. So I wouldn't say that. They kept selling because there wasn't any competition, but I think this whole idea of that they got a pass or that they didn't build animosity amongst a large majority of gamers I don't think that's right.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I don't think sweeping under the rug was correct either, but definitely wasn't the furor that it should have been. People were just like, fuck
No,
it, I
because
don't
they
have
didn't
a
have
choice.
another option.
Yeah, didn't
though.
have another
Tony,
option. Yeah,
As soon as they had another option, that's when they were like, fuck you.
yeah, a
'Cause
viable option. Yeah. They,
A year later, Sony came out, and that's when the heat really hit Microsoft.
I don't know about that, because remember when the PlayStation first came out, it was $600. People were busy shitting on PlayStation for like a good 3 or 4 years, until they dropped the shit to 400. That's when tides started turning. Yeah, Sony fucked up too, but yeah, that's again, it's to make it short. Everybody went along with it because they had no other choice. If you want to play a next gen game, you needed to buy an Xbox. Simple as that. Even if you had to buy a 5th Xbox to play it, But people were definitely pissed off, All right, moving on here. By the way, Black Metal Gamer, you're in the chat right now. If you want to ask us another question, go ahead, because the question you're asking us here about Monster Hunter, we've already answered. What future things you want to see in a Monster Hunter game? We've answered that before. So if you want to ask us another one, go ahead. So with that said, we're going to move on to All Day Digital, who's asking us a God of War question. And I got a story to go along with this one. And the question is, for those who played God of War, did you go with default or classic controls? I'm going to start first. I played the entire game with classic controls because I'm like, God of War games, attacks are face buttons. Fuck that shit. As soon as it said press 1 or attack, I'm like, R1 attack? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Switch to fucking classic. Beat the entire game that way. And I told people, I'm like, this is the most difficult God of War game I've ever played. This shit is crazy. And they were like, yo, Tony, and this is when the game actually came out, because remember, I had it 2 weeks before it even came out. People were like, Tony, you got to play with default. It is much easier to swing the camera around while you're attacking with the top buttons. I'm like, let me give that shit a shot. Yeah, they're fucking right. I'm blazing through this game now. I still have to get over my muscle memory, because remember, I've been playing God of War since 2005. Very hard to get over that, but they are right. It is so much easier to move the camera around while attacking, fucking throw the axe, and do all this other crazy shit. So yeah, I started with classic, but I recommend people go with default. That is definitely the way to play this shit.
So wait, you changed the buttons, the control layout?
Yeah, like as soon as when the game starts, it goes press R1 to attack. I'm like, what? No, that's not. No. So I hit start. I went to
I did that
options.
with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
The Origins. I went back to the old school.
Yeah, I'm like, because I'm like, fuck. But the thing is, I didn't even give default a try. I was like, no, that doesn't work. That shit doesn't fucking work. Fuck that. But I'm playing. I'm like, I'm breezing through this game now, man. It's crazy. So yeah, go with default. But anyway, let me go down the line here. Manny, what did you start off with?
I went with the classic controls. And then I'm thinking of going back and and seeing what else I can going back and playing, because I wanted to do some things. I missed an area that I wanted to go into, and because I thought that it was kind of a dead end. So I just decided, all right, I'll just go there. But maybe I'll try the other control screen, because there's quite a bit of things that I they kind of act that just don't seem to run right, like. I keep forgetting what was the callback for the axe button.
Yeah, that's tricking me up, because it's actually triangle, but I keep forgetting it, because with classic controls, the same button used to throw the axe is the same one used to recall it. So I keep pressing it twice. I'm like, where the fuck is this shit coming back?
Yeah. I'm doing the same thing. I still do it.
So yeah, that was one thing that kind of got to me. And then it was
and Manny, just remember, if you miss anything, you could always go back to that area. Just keep that in mind.
Well, no, the areas, in the story, the thing, you can't go to that area. There's this blue vines that don't allow me, and the door doesn't open after you come back.
Those blue vines, I know what you're talking about. You need a specific something to open those.
Something to open them, and then there's the door that you went through before. All of a sudden, is just locked for some reason.
Yeah, that opens up later. Just so you know,
it's kind of stupid. It's like, come on, I've been busting through trees, and I've been flying through houses and all kinds of other things, lifting fucking things, and this door just all happens to be immortal. Come on, guys. Seriously.
All right, Chris.
I play with default controls, but I have the same issue where it hangs me up, and what has killed me multiple times is I keep hitting triangle to throw the axe. And I'm like, what the fuck? I need to throw the axe. And then I'll get hit by something, especially those stupid, flying insect-looking motherfuckers.
Yeah, those motherfuckers, yeah.
Yeah, they were just like spamming me, and I'm like, shit. And I keep forgetting to hit the triggers, because I'm trying to play this like old God of War, and I'm like, no, I just got to get used to it. And then I go back and I do the same thing. But I'm trying to play it like I'm playing a Souls game, but I have the problem that Tony has, where I remember how that worked and got in the old games, and I accidentally will hit the wrong button.
Yeah, muscle memory, man. Muscle memory. All right, Carlos, what did you go with?
The default. I don't really change control schemes. I knew this God of War was going to be different entirely. Like this might as well could have been called something else. It's just sort of the canon that makes it a God of War game. So yeah, I knew that like this new experience would. I just want to play it the way the developer kind of thought the control scheme would be better at. So yeah, default for sure.
Yeah, by the way, just so people know, I usually go with default for games, but since this is God of War, it's the legacy game, I'm playing it the way it's supposed to be played. Little did I know the way it's supposed to be played is default. Brett, what did you go with?
I went with default for a lot of the same reasons Carlos did, but I just kind of approached this like a new God of War game. I think I'm the only one that's actually really relished in the new control scheme though, because I immediately started going for like trick attacks and things like that, because I was like, I'll put it on normal because Tony said this game was like fucking brutal, so we'll play it through normal first and then we'll get harder. And I started, I was like, this is really not that hard. And the second I found I could put away my axe, I started having an insane amount of fun punching things, just punching and kicking the shit out of everything. And then I learned that I could swing and I could throw my axe and then punch stuff and mid-combo recall my axe and then start axing things and then throw my axe and go back into a punch combo. So I think that's where the control scheme honestly really shines and why triangle is a very good recall button. So I never really got stuck in the same trap that you guys did. My only thing that I had trouble with was R1 seems like a weird block to me, or L1 seems like a weird block to me.
Yep. I think so too.
Feels like it should be the block, so I constantly throw out L2 when I should throw out R2, so that's the only thing I have to get used to. But in terms of even when you're throwing the axe repeatedly, R2 triangle, R2 triangle, R2 triangle, kind of has this nice rocking motion that almost feels like throwing and pulling back. So I feel like the triangle actually really works out well, especially when you're using different weapons, like you disarm by throwing the axe, and then you go into a punch combo, pressing triangle to pretty much recall and reset back into your standard axe attacks, and being able to hit them. Like I love throwing an axe behind somebody, starting to punch them, and then recalling the axe, hitting them with the axe on the backswing as it flies through them, and then wailing into them and starting to like juggle multiple enemies. So I'll punch one enemy until, two guys close in, recall my axe, and then start juggling all three of them. So I really actually like the control scheme in default. Not only is it acceptable to me, but I feel like it shines for the mechanics of the game. So I'm kind of hardcore default advocate, actually.
All right, and Adam.
Brett,
go ahead. Ask your question.
So I agree with the whole L1 being kind of awkward to block, but I was thinking, is there a better way to use like any better way to put the block button? Because L2 is kind of essential since that's how you aim with the arrows and your axe.
I don't think that there is. I think it's just something I need to get used to, because like both block and aim are crucial, and it almost feels like it feels like your primary, your more important one that you have to do it. Like the drop of a hat should be your L2, and I don't know why, it just does. So maybe if I switch them, but then aiming would be a little weird, because the L2 R2 to aim and throw works really well. So I think it's probably the best it can be. I just need to get used to blocking with L1.
Yep. And Adam, what about you?
Yeah, I left it at default. I didn't have any issues with it. I had a feeling just from the reviews, all the reviews were coming out, and they were like, it's not Dark Souls, but it sort of tries to feel like it is with the controls and why you use the triggers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So I was like, you know what? This is a different game. It's not like the old God of War. So I said, let me just leave it the way it is. And then I put on performance. When it came
man, you already know. By the way, I do want to add that I also feel that having the attack buttons on the top makes me less spammy, because I can't hit R1 as fast as I can square, right? So I'm more methodical about when I hit, which is a good thing. I think that's why I'm having an easier time with battles now. I'm not just hitting that fucking square button like crazy and shit. Actually, or me, man, square, triangle, my usual combo. Now what I do is I'll hit R1, back off a little bit, hit R2, maybe charge R2 to do that crazy swing. I'm more methodical now with this, and it's helping me survive shit. When I played this game the first time, I would avoid purple guys because they would fuck me up instantly. Now I'm like, bring it, let's fucking go. Unless they have a whatchamacallit, like a purple and a skull. If they have a purple and a skull, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm gonna get fucking wrecked. If they're just purple, I'm like, let me try my hand here. And most of the time, about 60% of the time, I win. So which is good. I just have to be very methodical. I hate to say this. I guess kind of like Dark Souls, like just back up a little bit, study the enemy's movements. Don't just go in there, you know. But
and you die a lot in certain parts. There were some parts I'm like, fuck, I just keep dying over some minor things, like just not listening to my son. You know, listening to the
because he
fireball's coming, guys right behind you, guys on the left of you. He's calling the shit out, and I'm not paying attention. And then I see the arrows, but you got to be quick with it. I'm over here in mid combo, and then he's screaming out fireball or poison, and I'm like, shit. But then now I know.
Yeah, you got to listen to him.
You got to react.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You know, in this game, you can't get combo happy. You have to stop the combo if you need to. You know, get the fuck out of the combo if you need to. All right, next question.
Oh,
go ahead. Brian, you haven't played it yet, but if you want to chime in, please.
Just general question. You said that the block one was L1 or was it R1?
L1.
Okay. Because that's actually the block button in God of War 3 as well.
It is.
Oh, okay, yeah. I by the way, just to throw it in, I prefer to have the block button on the L1. It's easier for me to grab, like, because most games usually have block on R1. I don't like that, you know? Like, I have to kind of go out of my way to press it, but with L1, it's always just there. But I do get mixed up sometimes. I'm like I got it because I got to hold R2 to aim and then R2 to shoot and then L1. Like sometimes I forget about it. It's like, Tony, you got to block too, son. You know.
Dude, I think it's just my Dark Souls muscle memory because I'm pretty sure block is L2 on Dark Souls, isn't it, Chris?
I think so.
I didn't have a problem with the block location though. My biggest gripe with the game is actually that that quick turn thing. Because it just seems like what was happening to me a lot was just constantly getting hit from behind by things, and I didn't like I feel like Hellblade and this game have a lot in common, and I feel like Hellblade did a better job of handling combat than this one did.
Yeah, when you get to default, let me know because I totally understand where you're coming from with classic controls. Default, I'm like, no, this game does combat better. But I did go through my mind the first time. I'm like, I think Hellblade did this kind of combat better. But with default, different story because you have full camera control. I barely use the 180 thing even on classic. I never use it now. I don't need to. You know. Okay, so we'll move on here to the next question. This one's for Adam. How will Call of Duty having no campaign affect you, Adam?
It's not going to affect me because the other two have campaigns. You know what I mean? It's like I can understand. Some people, it's weird because I'm reading these forums.
Yeah. By the way, it's kind of like a little bit of a joke question, so don't take it too seriously,
No,
too.
No, not taking it. No. I mean, it's not something I hold dear to me. That's actually one of the franchises I don't like too much. I'm not that big into Black Ops. The one thing that I do like about the Black Ops series is that it's very multiplayer, meaning it has a 4-player co-op. It's the only one in the series that supports that. So that's always fun. That's why I had talked about before that we would all play it, because it's 4-player. But no, we all knew they were going to make a change. We talked about it before about the battle royale mode, and it's coming, and I guess this is where they're going to do it. I thought maybe they would have a separate type of a game, but I guess they just don't have the time or the studio to do it. So like, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to do it in Black Ops and see what happens. I'm just thinking that with the money behind it, that they're going to throw big time production, and we're still going to get that Call of Duty feel, but just in this world, this new mode, which I hope is more than just a mode. If they add their own little twist onto it, if it's in a direct clone, that's going to suck, but we'll see. I'm still excited. What I'm confused about is how they're going to pitch it, because like we mentioned, the bundle that it has is going to have Black Ops 2, but the Black Ops 2 is not going to have multiplayer. It's going to have a campaign. So it's like, so for people that don't follow all that, if they're watching it or if they find out, in the news the next day, they're like, oh, wow, so let me get this straight. The new one has this battle royale and all the multiplayer stuff, but no, traditional campaign. And then the attachment of the remaster Black Ops 2 has a campaign, but no multiplayer. So it's weird, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, if it fails, then they'll just go back to something else. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world because it's not their only one in the franchise. This is just one out of the 3. So we'll see.
All right, cool. Next question, going back to Black Metal Gamer. Do you think God of War should or will make a spin-off covering the gap stories between 3 and the current one? I don't know if I want that, to be honest. Like I definitely want some explanation, but I don't know if I want like a
full-on game.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And, then the Vita isn't really around anymore to handle that sort of shit. So, yeah, I don't know. I would prefer them just in the next game or maybe an expansion to explain it, but I don't really need to go through that myself. You know what I mean? Like seeing Kratos with half a beard or something. I don't know.
Okay, now let me ask you this though: if they did expand the backstory in a DLC, would you feel like they withheld that just to make the DLC?
No, I don't. Because I feel this was already a complete game, Oh, by the way, I should state I'm not against it. I'm just saying I don't particularly need it. But if they give it to me and it's done well, I would have absolutely no problems with that. It's just I don't feel I need it as a separate thing, But if they want to do something like Lost Legacy, okay, sure, I guess. But I don't really need it, But
the Adventures of Atreus.
But whatever. What do you guys think?
No, I don't need it. I feel like I kind of like the little bit of mystery to it, but I also the weird thing is that it always seems to happen with Kratos and his family, parts of his family dying, and you not really getting any sort of real character development behind them. It's like, hey, I had a wife and a child. They died. Can you tell us a little bit more about them? They died. Damn it.
Well, I mean, what would the interim be? Like him getting married, a couple sex mini games, and then him sitting around brooding like Vegeta?
I just feel like the thing is, at least the way they're setting up his former love interest in this game, she was very important to him. And that she got him to do something he could never do. You know what I mean? So I feel like would have liked to have known her a little bit.
Well, here's something I want to know.
He also barely, at least from what I've played, he barely kind of talks about her.
Adam, go ahead.
How tall is he? Because I don't know. They make him look really tall.
Yeah, he's tall. He's fucking
supposed
tall.
to be tall.
I don't remember him being that tall. When
he is.
The other ones, remember, he was like...
Well, that's because the game makes the character really small.
Yeah, and think about this, like, Kratos is gonna look small against like a fucking ogre or something.
Yeah,
no. But I mean, I remember in 2 and stuff when you were fighting just evil dudes, they were like up to your height, and they were the big monsters, and you were tiny to them. But it just.
But remember those evil dudes that you're talking about?
When he was with the girls, when he was banging in with the chicks and doing everything, they were like normal. He was like a regular 6-foot guy, but now he looks like he's 9 feet tall when he's walking around.
Yeah. I remember, I forgot what it was, Manny. Maybe you could help me with this. Didn't they actually say something like if you were to like Kratos is bigger than 9 heads or bigger than 8 heads or something like that?
Yeah, he's got like crazy superhero proportions, and he's actually is taller than a lot of normal people. But that is also because of silhouette and game design, so that you can spot him over other things. So his hands are kind of oversized and all that stuff. But I don't know if I think they don't follow a lot of that for the new version of Kratos. He's still bigger than most people, but I think they kind of subtly pulled him down a little bit.
Yeah, because remember,
they made this Kratos bigger.
He's fucking huge. Like, not only is he taller, he's also wider too. I noticed.
I think in general he's wider, but like he doesn't have those crazy proportions like he did before. Like,
no, that's true.
Overly long arms, and his hands are crazy huge.
Well, they just filled him out. Actually, like his proportions, like his skeletal frame is the same, but like, here's actually a really good picture. Hold on.
Man, I noticed it when the stranger came by.
Yeah, he was taller than him. Yeah, man.
He was massive. I mean, he almost dwarfed him. I mean, he was looking down like a little man. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, Kratos has always been big though, because remember the other people that he fought in other games were also gods too, and gods are just tall. They're all tall,
well, Here's a side-by-side figure of the two, and you can actually see.
Manny, do me a favor, click on that picture and then put it up on share screen.
Okay, sure.
So we could see what Brett's talking about.
you can actually see like his pecs and his shoulders are about the same as is, you know, his head size, his beard, and like they've kind of streamlined around his trapezoids, but his torso is much broader. But it's not that it's broader, it's just that he doesn't have the tiny little waist that he did before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. They filled him out because he had stretched arms, stretched midsection, stretched legs.
He still got that 8-pack going. Damn.
Got that 8-pack going.
Doing
Yeah, man, you got it up on screen?
Medicine ball.
Yeah, I got to pull it up. I just got to have the thing over here.
All right, hold on. We're taking a little break so we could get this up on screen for you guys so we could dissect it.
In the meanwhile,
all right, later, the truth. Go ahead, Brian.
According to the GodWar wiki, he is between 6 and 7 feet tall.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Check it out. Okay, so Brett, can you do that explanation again? Here's the side by side. People are looking at it now.
Okay, yeah, sure. If you really notice, like his head, his skeletal proportions are about the same. He's about the same amount of heads tall. His arms go about the same amount, the same length down to mid thigh. His hands are about the same proportion to his face, his thighs, his knees. The basic dimensions are the same, but if you start to look at the musculature, the beard makes him look much broader in the face. They've kind of toned down the curl from the trapezoid, you know, the neck muscles that come down. But his pecs are about the same size, but he's got a much wider waist now. So they've actually just kind of filled out his form and changed him from this kind of classic bodybuilder, very broad shoulders, very tiny waist, creating a very triangular torso, which is a very heroic kind of proportion that you build something in, into something more real world, where kind of like an actual strongman, where a lot of their power comes from their core, from, you know, the upper pelvic region to below the pecs. So they really filled him out here. I mean, his waist is probably twice what it was before. And I think that's what kind of gives him that broader, bulkier look. And it actually was really good character design, because that's a great way to age a character.
Yeah.
Even if you kind of look at the face, like, you know, the eyes and the basic structure of the face are still relatively similar, but you can almost see as he gets older how gravity is pulling down on those features and rounding and filling out his face, which is actually how people age. So I say that they changed the art style, but they use the fact that he's older to do so. But he's still fucking huge. But that's the other thing, is you don't know the size of the people he's in, and he's standard quote unquote superhero proportions. Being about 6.5, 7 feet tall is your standard Superman, your Batman, your Marvel character.
Well, I mean, like it's with 7 to 8 heads tall, like superhero proportions.
This picture makes him like the old school one look evil. Like
yeah,
his face,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, he looks more like human with the beard. He looks like a monster in the original.
Well, that's actually the alternate head for that figure. I have that one.
Yeah, by the way, I love the fact that we're using action figures for this, but it illustrates our points well enough.
Actually, action figures are pretty well scaled and modeled. They're one of the more measured. Like, you'll get a lot of variance with different artists, because you know,
that's true.
Some of them will have their own interpretations. But when you do an action figure, you have to run that shit through so many channels and so many mock-ups and everything like that. This is probably a better representation of the best representation of scale we could get.
Yeah, no, again, that's a good point. All right, there you go, man. So we shall move on here to the next
on his ribs.
You know, what the fuck are we?
That shit fucking jacked, and it's so high up.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on, man. Questions from the Booty Warrior. Love that name. All right. His first question is it too late for Microsoft to build or acquire new studios to make AAA single-player story-driven games for the remainder of this generation? Or do you think they've already accepted defeat and are preparing new IPs for the next generation? As we've said many times, Microsoft is pretty much done with this generation. They're thinking about the next one, you know?
Yep.
Or if they're smart, they are. You know, this generation is done.
We'll find out in, what, 2 months?
Yeah,
right?
E3. They're done with this generation. You know, they need to focus on the next one.
Get ready for that portable one.
The smart thing to do is kind of like do sort of like a Nintendo, where they announce a game like they did with Zelda, but don't say which generation's coming from. Like going to just announce the game.
Yeah.
So people can be hyped up, and then it could launch on the new system or something like that.
Yeah, so again, we've talked about this before. They definitely this generation is pretty much they you know, the Xbox One brand is tainted. They need to start a new Xbox, start fresh, and hopefully get people to come back to the platform, because this generation is done. You know. Let's just be honest. This generation was done as soon as it began. Let's just be real.
Just get freaking Switch controls and put it on the side of a Surface. You know what I mean? And let's make it happen. I don't get that shit. Even the iPad doesn't have that. Is it that hard to do? You know what I mean? I don't know. Seems like a no-brainer.
Well, I mean, on iPad, yes, because Apple products suck at games.
That's what I'm saying. Just freaking, it's gotta be something.
So I mean, you could do it with a Surface, but I mean, that's an interesting question. Could somebody else pretty much do that same, tablet with controller snapped along the side and not get sued by Nintendo?
Well, it's pretty funny because Nintendo ripped off that idea from those other guys. Yeah, Nintendo already ripped off that idea, so I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. And they lost that lawsuit trying to fight it. They were like, "Nah, you ripped them off. You got to pay."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Nintendo lost that shit. So yeah, Nintendo can't claim that they were the first one. So it's because they ripped it off, and they lost in court. By the way, shout out to Adam's favorite roaster, Dana. She's in the comments.
Oh shit.
She says the booty warrior sounds like her spirit animal. That's hilarious.
Ooh.
All right, moving on here. Yeah, okay. Hey, Adam, perfect segue. With the success of Switch, will Nintendo ever go back to making a traditional console?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so. They'll just keep making variations of the Switch.
Yeah.
They'll call it the Super Switch.
Super Switch. Super Switch. I like that.
It'll be a Super Switcheroo when they get rid of the Switch and they went to a regular console. They're like, Super Switch. They're not doing that. No, it's working for them. They're not doing it.
Yeah. I don't think we need to get too deep into this one,
No, I got a different answer.
Damn, Brett, are you all right, brother? Shit.
You drink Red Bull, you don't inhale it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn.
Go ahead, Carlos.
So I'm thinking they could possibly do like a 2DS scenario where they release a Switch that's just a home console that'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
I think that, like later their whatever their generation is, but later in the life cycle of the Switch, they could possibly just release a home version of what the Switch is without the screen.
But what about us? Let's just call it for the sake of fun, the Super Switch. What about the next one? Is it gonna be a traditional console, or do you see them, doing the Switch thing? I predict another Switch.
They weren't gonna make a traditional console since they had the success with the Wii.
Yeah.
Well, it really depends on what you define traditional console as, because, I mean, to some people the Wii could be traditional. Some other people probably don't think so.
I think the last traditional console they had was the GameCube.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And
I think they'll do a bait and switch, and we'll get the Switch Mobile. And people are like, "What's that?" Oh, well, it's pretty much the Switch without the dock.
Yeah, I see that happening more likely than a Switch that's only for the TV. I think a Switch Portable, which is a smaller one, I think that's more likely to happen.
Yeah, and that's how they'll phase out the 3DS.
Yeah, but again, do you guys see the Switch 2 being just a regular console? I don't think so.
No.
They're not gonna go back to
no.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go anywhere.
Probably not. I mean, here's the thing, and I've said this before. Nintendo has been on a long and winding road towards pretty much being a handheld developer. I still maintain that the Switch was them consolidating their efforts. I would be shocked if they continued to make new DS lines or a new handheld that wasn't the Switch. Then yes, I would say there's a chance you could actually see them make a basic home console at some point. But I think they're integrating their handheld and their console line, or honestly just phasing out their console line slowly, because they've had a lot of success in the handheld market. That's where they make most of their money.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to follow where the money is, and this is just kind of a nice abridged version. And I would basically see, instead of them having a milk toast console and a successful handheld, they just combine the two. I mean, it's basic business sense. And they're gonna string along the 3DS for as long as there's money, but as soon as that money stops, they'll cut it off and they'll consolidate their efforts. I don't think that you're gonna see a new iteration of a handheld after this.
Shit, I could see one of these Wii U or Wii Mini, in 2 or 3 years from now. I could see them making a Wii Mini. Like, oh, take it on the go, and then the little controller stick on the side of it too, just like a Switch.
Yeah. All right, man. Pretty easy, thing to answer there. So we'll move on to Dig. His question, his one and only question is, this one's gonna be fun. All right. By the way, let me make sure I'm fucking not muted here. I'm good. All right. Okay. Are some Xbox fans overreacting because Mike Ybarra streamed God of War on Mixer? They see it as him promoting a game from their competitor. Are their concerns valid? You will never see Sony executives like Yoshida streaming Sea of Thieves. Yeah. Okay. Just some background context. This entire weekend, not the entire weekend, but for a good chunk of the weekend, starting on Friday, Xbox fanboys they were just like going crazy. First thing, let's back it up a little bit, even before Mike Ybarra. First, what happened is IGN, they, not a tweet, it was a Facebook post that had a picture of God of War on, PlayStation and God of War on Xbox. Obviously, Xbox was black, and they were like, which one, do you like better? Xbox fanboys got fucking pissed off, right? And it led to IGN actually issuing an apology to Microsoft over that, which is ridiculous. It was just a joke. And then after that, Mike Ybarra, he's like, what game should I stream tonight? He had a bunch of games in his poll. One of them was God of War. And the Xbox guys were like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't stream God of War. That's the competitors thing. You're promoting their shit. What are you doing? What are you doing? Even Mike Ybarra was like, guys, I'm a gamer. I play all types of games. So they got on his ass. Multiple videos put out by Xbox fanboys. So yeah, did they overreact? They acted exactly as fanboys would act. Ridiculous,
Which is overreacting.
Oh, yeah, it's exactly.
It's just one of those streaming services. It's not just for Microsoft products. It's for everything.
Yeah, but Adam, here's where you got better. People are telling like, no, don't stream God of War, stream Gears of War. It's like, who the fuck's talking about Gears of War right now, bro? Come on.
Was that on his list? Was
No.
that one of the so then then it's not happening.
Yeah.
That's it. We have a list and people voted.
But they're saying they're saying his entire list should have been nothing but Xbox exclusives.
Please.
They're being stupid.
Oh, okay. So he needs to be a shill in his personal life as well as his professional life.
Yeah, they said they said you're making the competition look good by promoting their product. And then some people you want to where it's like, why did I even invest in an Xbox if the executives can't even promote the system? Like this is crazy.
Microsoft, I'm pretty sure weren't even upset because I'm sure a lot of people were like, oh, what's Mixer? Oh, let me try that out. That just puts more eyes on Mixer as a service.
Yeah.
And that's what they really want. So fuck it. You know what? Who cares? Stream whatever you want on there, any kind of game. As long as you're using their service, you're signing up and shit. So
I just can't believe that people are like, I don't understand. So I get the basic idea of you're streaming a competitor's game, but again, have you not followed that thought through to its logical conclusion? Because eventually where you end up is people censoring information as it comes to you in order to further an agenda that isn't necessarily in your best interest. You are literally advocating for the kind of weird shit that everybody's mad that Facebook does. You want curated information that's going to change your opinion spoon-fed to you? Or do you just want all of the information and be able to make your decision? Because it sounds like you're rooting for a world full of fake news and, sponsorships and commercials hidden as, entertainment. Like, that's not what any of us want.
What they really want is confirmation bias. That's all these guys want.
No, I realize that they want confirmation bias in this instance, but the thing I don't understand is, in order to get confirmation in this instance, you have to be willing to sacrifice your morals, which are going to bite you in the ass in the end. Like, it's not that the rules that you decide now only apply to now. The rules you would decide now apply to all the time.
You really think fanboys think that far through, man?
No, I don't. And that's the thing that gets me. They start a thought, but they don't think it through to its logical conclusion. They don't think about the fact that, oh, we don't want you promoting another company. They don't think that in that same breath they're saying, we want you to basically feed us a curated feed of only pro Xbox stuff, whether or not it's true. We want you to lie to us whether or not it's true.
But that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want.
You know what I mean?
No, I know, but I agree. But that's exactly what they want. That is exactly what they want. They want nothing but Xbox to be promoted. They want Xbox to be put out there as the greatest system. I mean, these guys don't like it when you report actual facts that the Xbox is behind on PlayStation. They consider that media bias. That's a fucking fact. Yet that's media bias right there to these guys. It's fucking insane, man. So my point is trying to put logic into them is a useless endeavor because they don't see logic. They don't care about logic. They care about the stupid feelings.
It's so absent. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a website just for the good of all of you people called Am I Right? And it'll just be a blank website that says, I think I'm right, and then click a button that you can click that says, Am I right? And it'll go to another page that says, considering your very valid arguments, yes, you're in the right here. And then you can get all the fucking confirmation bias you want because it's all fucking imaginary and none of it's based on reality. And so why is that not as good as anything else? If all you want is somebody to tell you that you're right, we'll automate an AI bot for it and you go fucking masturbate in your room and click the AI bot 9 million times. I don't understand. If you don't have a valid argument, don't bring an argument to the table because you're just ruining the whole fucking process for the rest of us.
But they don't think that way. They don't think that far through, man. They just want their shit validated and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I just want to say you're an idiot. Sit down and shut up.
I saw this other guy saying, like, he wrote this huge letter to his business website saying, like, why don't you guys cover video games? I think it's very lucrative. Then he snuck it in there. He's like, actual video game sites are very biased against Microsoft and you would do a better job of covering it. So I'm thinking, okay, you didn't think this through, did you? Because if the business site covers Xbox, they're going to report on the fact that the Xbox is behind on PlayStation. Then you're going to consider them biased. Either way, you lose, man. You know?
None of it makes sense. Okay, the best way I can leave this is actually quoting Billy Madison. What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Oh man, that's a perfect way to end that.
I have a photo to share with you guys. Please click my screen.
That will trigger a lot of people. By the way, for those who are listening, this is a picture of Phil Spencer and Jack Tretton. These are okay. So here's the thing: you guys out there, and I'm talking about the fanboys, right? You guys think that this is an actual war, right? Meanwhile, these executives are laughing at you while they're eating dinner with each other. You know,
because they know that the competition is out there, and they know the thing is that any competition makes you better. And the thing is that these guys don't have any animosity toward each other. They fucking go drinking out all the time. We've gone to these shows. We've sat next to these guys. They're just like whatever, having a conversation. So it's not a big old thing, man.
You're all making it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this shit is in your fucking head. These guys don't think like that. As a matter of fact, they make fun of you. You know that, right? And
they're goofing on it because they know. Because the thing is that here's the thing: the silly thing about it is that also that sort of thought does also having us versus them sort of stuff does help sales. But these guys don't care about that stuff for the most part. They're not enemies at all.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing with I constantly explain when we talk about fanboys and stuff, like constantly explain how business works. The industry is very small. People talk, right? Even though it's multi-billion dollars, they have to know each other and get along, right? Because if you decide you want to leave one and go to the other, you want to get a job, you're not going to spit in the other guy's eye, right?
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, they're doing a job. It's a job. Phil Spencer has a job. It's not his life. His life is his family or whatever. His job is to promote and market Xbox, right? But at the end of the day, maybe he decides he doesn't want to do that anymore, and then Activision picks him up, right? He can't spit in their eye, or maybe Sony picks him up. He can't spit in their. They all have to work together at the end of the day, and they all are buddies, or they all work together at some place, and they split up years later, and they meet up, like. But it's ridiculous to think like they have any actual animosity towards each other because of a product.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something I was actually just telling a friend last night. There's a reason that enemy and rival are two different words. An adversary is a third word. None of them mean the same thing. And to people with a very small vocabulary, they might seem like they do. But there's a very big difference between a rival and an adversary and an enemy. Adversary and enemy are very close to the same thing, but a rival is somebody who you can respect, and That's exactly what we're looking at when we're looking at these companies. Yes, they're rivals, but they can respect each other. They can appreciate each other. They can congratulate each other on the launch of their systems or their games or the success of their endeavors. They've done so in the past. That's called acting with fucking class.
Yeah, exactly. Manny, just do me a favor. Save that picture for the future. I'm probably going to want it as a featured image eventually. That is beautiful, man.
There you go. Also, by the way, who took this photo is to give credit, because I don't want to just start showing random people's photos. It was Jeff Keighley took this photo.
There you go. There you go.
It's on his Instagram for you to enjoy.
There you fucking go, man. All right, let's move on here. Dip Dop Doopity, I know you're in the building too, man. Okay, his first question is, do you think Uncharted and The Last of Us are in the same universe? Very interesting question. My question is, and you're here to answer this, why would you ask that? Like, I could see how you could maybe do it. Like, maybe after the end of Uncharted 4, The Last of Us happens, right? Maybe, but there's no real evidence. Unless there is, maybe I've missed it. It's entirely, yeah. So please explain this to me.
There is in Uncharted Uncharted 3. There is a newspaper in that bar where you have that big bar brawl with those guys with Sully. There is a newspaper in there that talks about life-threatening cordyceps.
I didn't even know about that Easter egg, but even more fundamental, Tony.
At the end, it's at the end in the house.
But wait, hold on. Dip Dop says that the timelines match perfectly. How? Because The Last of Us, again, unless I'm wrong, takes place now, right? The ending of Uncharted, I'm talking about the post-credit ending, takes place maybe 15 years from now.
What makes you think Last of Us takes place now?
Because there's no evidence to suggest that it takes place in the future. Maybe it does. It could.
Here's the problem, though.
Yeah.
If it looks like it takes place now, with our current level of technology, that means society fell at that point, and then you have all of the time for all of that stuff to return into ruins and get overgrown.
Yeah. Well, I'm basing it on. Remember the intro of The Last of Us? That's where I'm basing it on. Okay, that's currently happened, or was 3 years ago, I guess, with the technology they had there. So that's where I'm basing it off
so
of.
You know, all that overgrowth and degradation happened in 3 years.
No, I'm talking about The Last of Us begins 3 years ago. Remember with his daughter and all that shit?
I know that, but here, let me put it this way. How long do you think it takes a place to go from pristine to crumbled and overgrown the way it is in The Last of Us?
Let's see. I could actually answer that.
Minimum of 20 years.
Yeah,
I know it's longer, but let's say a minimum of 20
yeah.
years.
Well, actually, in that case, it's about 14 years. That's how old Ellie is.
No. We're not even talking. We're just talking about how long it takes a world to go from normal and inhabited to crumbling and overgrown with that amount of vegetation. I'm gonna use
Chernobyl as an example. About 20-25 years.
Oh God, dude, Chernobyl is still way more intact than that. They've actually done studies, and I'm.
Yeah. By the way, Brett, I hate to cut you off. Are we going to go down a rabbit hole here? Because I don't want to do that with this.
No.
Because remember, the question is, are Uncharted?
I'm doing simple math to lead you to a point.
Okay.
So let's say it takes, and I know it takes longer, but let's say it takes about 50 years for things to get to that point of degradation. Okay. If you're seeing current level technology, that means that it's 50 years in the future.
Yeah, because it stopped.
Because if it were 50 years of degradation today, all the technology would be left in the 50s. So you can adequately assume thereby that The Last of Us takes place sometime in the future. Although the main collapse that happens, the collapse of society, happens around our time.
That's what I just said, though. I don't know why you went through that whole thing to say the same thing I just said.
Because the game takes place in the future.
Yes, but the thing is, I'm trying to line up the beginning of The Last of Us with the ending of Uncharted, because Uncharted 4, the ending is everything's still fine.
Are you talking about the beginning or the prologue? There's a big difference.
I'm talking about the beginning is the prologue. You know, the beginning.
No. Because the beginning tells you about the collapse.
We're really getting into this minutia. Okay, the prologue. Then I'm trying to line
my
up.
main story. Yeah. My main point is this, and I'll cut right to the meat here.
Yeah.
What planet does Last of Us take place on?
Earth.
what planet does Uncharted take place on?
Earth.
So why would you not think that they're taking place on the same
What planet did Sea of Thieves take on?
Saturn. We all know that.
What planet does Out of Earth take place in? What planet does Call of Duty take place in? What planet? You know what I'm saying? So you're saying the Call of Duty is
any game that you try and tie to our reality is then tied to our reality, and you can have the nerd argument of is connected.
No, I understand, but I'm saying I want to know where is this, aside from the newspaper thing Manny was talking about, where is this connected? I'm like, I see the game isn't,
because most people don't think in terms of multiverse. You're a comic nerd, so you automatically think multiverse, but that is not a concept that is widely known or accepted. Yeah. And so when somebody there aren't multiple Earths. So when you like, well, Uncharted takes place in our world, and The Last of Us and Last of Us takes place in our world. So I assume that both things take place in the same world, because multiverse doesn't even come into their brain.
Yeah, but that's like saying that the Joy Luck Club takes place in the same universe as Terminator. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
But that doesn't work, man. You know, that doesn't work. It's like every story that's out there, I'm talking about books, comics, whatever, all takes place in its own universe, unless it's connected, unless it's said it's connected. Like, you're not, like, Godzilla doesn't take place in the same universe as Gundam. You know what I'm saying? It's totally different things. You can't just mix it all. This isn't the Last Action Hero where it's just all big mishmash of shit. You know?
Generally that is true. I mean, you'll get into really rabbit hole nerd arguments on that, but it kind of changes a little bit when you're talking about intellectual properties from the same creator. So
yeah, from the same creator. I mean, is that the only connecting issue, that because they're both Naughty Dog games?
No, the most that does it is just the connection of that Cordyceps newspaper, and the light connection is that bar that's in Uncharted is actually in Last of Us as well.
Gotcha, yeah. Because remember, the same thing was asked, like, hey, does Watch Dogs take place in the same universe as Assassin's Creed? And I think they confirmed it is.
It is.
You know?
Yeah. They said essentially you one of the places that you hack into is a Templar stronghold.
Yeah. So anyway, just to answer the question, no, I don't think they take place in the same universe, but I can see how they could line it up so they are in the same universe. You know? I just haven't seen enough solid evidence to suggest that, but I could totally see them doing that. You know, it's not like Uncharted takes place in like space or something in the super future. You know, so I could definitely see them trying to do that. Anybody else want to jump in on this?
Even then, you can tie it together. There's an implied beginning of Star Wars, that Star Wars takes place in our reality, our universe.
Well, yeah, same universe, different galaxy. That is true, because remember they have different
places.
Yeah, it takes place, like they implied it. Actually, they kind of said it, because remember in the prequel movies, you see ETs there. ETs are, they came to our planet, so they came from that galaxy, presumably to our galaxy, but like thousands and thousands of years in the future, because Star Wars is a long time ago or whatever. So they did imply that.
So they could just leave it just sometime in the future, something happens on the same world that Uncharted happens on, and, then The Last of Us happens sometime in the future. They don't even have to nail it down, because you don't know the progress of technology. The civilization could have fallen 20 years from now, 40 years from now. Nobody says that we have to have holograms and shit by then, and we don't know what kind of level of technology they really had in The Last of Us. Some of it seemed pretty high tech, so they could be taking a realistic view of the advance of technology. That shit could take place 300 or 400 years in the future for all we know. We don't actually know. And leaving it nice and vague like that leaves them room to be kind of like, yeah, I mean, they could take place in the same world. Isn't it neat to think about?
Oh, no, it definitely is. My question is, and I guess this will be a good way to finish this, how old is Joel in the prologue, and how old is he in the main game? How much time do you think elapsed? I think between 20 and 30 years.
Was Joel alive during the collapse?
Yeah, don't you remember you play as him during the epilogue?
Yeah, at the beginning, yeah.
When that's right, okay.
It's in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. And he's definitely older, so I'm like, I'm wondering, I think it's between 20 and 30 years. He looked like he's 50, and he looked like a pretty young guy in the epilogue. So I guess, because remember, Uncharted's ending, Uncharted 4's ending is like 15 years in the future, and everything's pretty okay at that point.
Well, 15's actually a decent amount of time to get things to kind of look overgrown.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like, okay.
It doesn't actually take that long for nature to take over things.
It takes about 100 years for infrastructure to start to crumble like that. It takes about 500 years to completely erase most traces of civilization.
Yeah, it takes a while, but you know how games are. They speed things up and shit.
I mean, it's not. Granted, Last of Us kind of looks like the game
Enslaved.
But I think what they're going with is maybe a shorter amount of time, obviously, because Joel will be a grandpa.
Yeah, cool. No, I forgot about the fact that Joel was young in the beginning. They fudged the science on that to make everything a little bit more decayed and overgrown than it actually should have.
It's 30 years basically. If you at the most, it's 30 years between the prologue where you play as Joel and then during the main game.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Was young, but he wasn't that young. His daughter was like 13, 14?
Yeah, so he could have, maybe he had her young, you never know. So I'm going to say he was either in his mid-20s or late 20s, not early 20s, definitely not early 20s.
I don't think he was in his 20s at all. I think he was in his 30s.
Okay, so if that's the case, then maybe 20 years, because he's not 60 years old during the main game. Nah. So it probably...
Chat says it's 20.
Yeah.
Chat says it's 20.
Chat 20. Okay, so he's probably 30 years old. Sounds about right for the prologue and stuff.
They're saying 20. It took 20 years to in between.
No, I'm saying Joel was 30 in the prologue, and then 20 years passed.
I think what we're talking, if we're doing this nerd off thing, right? We're talking 2050, right? That's pretty safe. We could say,
yeah,
it takes place in 2050. That's 30 years from now, man.
Yeah,
a lot of shit can happen in 30 years.
No, I understand that, but again, just to tie it all together, I'm saying that the prologue of The Last of Us must have taken place shortly after the ending of Uncharted 4. Understand? Which is 15 years in the future.
Well, in 15 years in the future, had technology advanced that much?
If you go back 15, no, we don't know. No, the thing is, remember
in Uncharted.
But Brett, here's the funny thing. In the ending of Uncharted, it's a small little isolated island. We don't know what the technology is there, So they
they don't have a PlayStation 4 there. She has a PlayStation 1 there.
Yeah, exactly.
So we could. Well, that could be because a lot of the civilization has collapsed.
No, but they've said they still go out on adventures. They said so.
I know.
No, my point is you can stick The Last of Us after the ending of Uncharted. Understand? That's what I'm trying to get at.
I think barely.
Yeah, but this is why. This is why I'm also don't really go with this theory. Anyway, go ahead, Carlos.
What if Drake's daughter is Ellie's mom?
I mean, she kind of looks like her. Possibly, you can do that. You can do that. By the way, before we move on, Dip Top Doopity says, here's how I see the timeline. Uncharted 4, 1996, because Crash was a new game, but they're not playing a new game. They're playing an old game in that game. They both know they're playing an old game. You know?
She even states it. Oh, yeah, I used to play this a long time ago.
Yeah. Uncharted 4 does not take place in 1996. That game takes place in like 2016. They say even he's like, Elena was like, this old game. I used to play this when I was a kid. All right. So Uncharted takes place now. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. In The Last of Us, did they ever say that whatever happened took over the world, or was it just isolated in that incident?
They implied it took over the world.
Because if they can confirm that it did take over the world, then I guess you're kind of stuck in the fact that Last of Us has happened afterwards. But if they can't, then it can also imply that the two events happened at the same time, or roughly the same time. In that The Last of Us could happen in one region of the world, and then Uncharted 4 ending could happen in another region of the world, and it could be closer than we think. That's my thinking. Yeah,
because usually with zombie stories that takes place during the entire world, it's very rare. Like I know, oh my god, forget the name of the game. Daylight. What's the name of the zombie game we all play together?
Dying Light.
That one was isolated. I remember that was this thing. It was like, oh shit. Usually zombie games is just everything. That one's specifically isolated, but they never told you if The Last of Us is isolated or not. I don't think it is. I think it's the entire, at least all of America. But they implied it's the entire world. But then again, how would they know if technology is all fucked up? They could be like, oh good, fuck those Americans, man. We're not gonna help them. All right. Moving on here. With Uncharted 4 selling 2.7 million in its first week and Horizon selling 2.8 million in its first 2 weeks, what is your prediction on how much God of War is going to sell in its first week?
A gazillion.
Yo, man, like
dollars.
16 million, man. Easy.
I bought 2 copies, so
Oh, shit. I predict... by the way, I'm actually surprised by these numbers because I was gonna originally, my original thought was that this game was gonna sell 2 million, but I didn't know Uncharted sold that many in its first week. That's fucking nuts. So I'm gonna go with, and I'm probably gonna be wrong about this, 3.5 million.
Ooh, I'll double that and go
In its
4.
first
Or I'll
week?
go over and go
Yeah, in
4.
its first week, yeah.
Really?
I'll say 4.
Yeah, if Uncharted sold that many, God of War is gonna sell more.
Dude, God of War is selling stupid. Okay,
It is, yeah, it's
not only did
ridiculous.
the pre-orders on Amazon sell out, the local physical copies at 2 of my stores sold out.
Brett, do you think I'm being conservative? Because I think I am. Because I really want to.
I think you're being conservative. I would go with 4.
I really
personally.
want. You know what? Fuck it. Because I do. My gut is telling me go with 4. Because I'm gonna say 3.5 just to be safe. But let's go with 4. 4 million this first week. That'll be fucking insane. Oh, actually, no. I'm fucking.
Yeah,
I'm pulling it. I'm pulling it back. 3.5 million in the first week. That's 4 million in the first week. That would be unheard of. You know.
anybody want to take a bet?
Oh, Carl! I see. I fucking knew it. I'm not taking a bet because I could be wrong.
Carlos is like that guy from Cuphead. Like, just it's like, hey guys, just like, what? You want to
Carlos is the devil.
my favorite guy.
Oh man,
I'm on you, Carlos. You know.
Carlos is like Carlos' other last name is El Diablo.
Yeah.
Diablo.
Not that cheap dude from Suicide Squad, but
Oh,
oh,
2.5 million.
2.5 million.
Okay, I'd have to say 2 million because although the Amazon thing did happen, I've heard that it's like other issues because there's been like weird Amazon things over here in the UK. Like some games are just not available. All PlayStation exclusives though, which is really weird.
Yeah, I'm
Suddenly
surprised
they all
somebody asked
become
us about
unavailable at
that.
the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it may not be because it's sold out. I think Amazon and Sony are doing something behind the scenes because even like the PSN cards went out as well, which they never do. So hence I'm like,
Really?
yeah. So again, I haven't picked up my
Not to
stores,
go down the
don't know.
rabbit hole. But Brian, I need to ask you this question. Do you think it's either because they have like a marketing deal getting ready, or do you think there's some animosity between them? What do you think?
I honestly have no idea because I can't fathom why they would fall out in any regards. Because again, like both profit from the same idea, which is like they sell the game, so everyone gets a bit of the profit back. So I don't see why they would fall out. The only thing I can think of is maybe Amazon changed some rules and Sony didn't like it, or Sony changed their rules and Amazon didn't.
But
like
they were
it.
sold out in 2 of my physical stores. Like I have not seen, even with Monster Hunter, and
Mhm.
I just looked it up. Monster Hunter in Japan alone moved 1,350,000 retail copies in 3 days.
Damn!
what?
What the
Damn.
fuck in Japan? Wow!
Yeah, in Japan alone.
oh wow.
Because
Oh,
everyone in Japan bought it.
Yeah.
Shit!
But I would say that this new God of War is on par with that kind of launch. So it's not just the Amazon thing I'm going off of. Like I couldn't find a physical game. You know, the last time I wasn't able to find a physical game.
1995.
You know, Adam. Hey, Brett, I guess you should have listened to those guys and pre-ordered.
Yo, man.
Pre-order.
Well, I mean, I gave my predictions when Cicero came on. Remember?
Yeah. Chris, can you list them again for the people who may not remember?
Well, I don't remember what I said the first week. I said it was gonna do, I think over 3 million in 30 days, but I said it would hit 8 million in.
Yeah, that's
90
right.
days.
Yeah, you said it's going to hit 8 million by like a week after E3, which is a bold ass prediction. Actually, yeah, I remember you saying
I backed him up on that too.
Yeah, 3 million. Yeah, I think you said 3 million in the first week, 5 million in the first month, and then 8 million in the first 3
that
months.
was it. Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, because we both agree that it's going to have a swift drop off time.
yeah.
It's going to sell like a motherfucker, and then it's going to drop off and be carried by bundle sales.
Bunderu. That's
I said
crazy.
the strongest sales are going to be here in Europe.
Yeah, Carlos, man, what do you predict?
That's the high estimates you guys have there. I'm here like, yeah, 2 million, that's fine. You know?
Yeah, but you were also the one.
But
that
Brian,
said you didn't.
Yeah,
God of War wasn't going to be good.
Yeah, that is true, Brian.
Well, I haven't played it, so it's clearly not that good.
It's trash. It's trash.
I'm just saying. You know, like, it's the most like all of you motherfuckers to buy it.
You know,
whereas I'm here like,
you don't even watch Moonlight. God damn it, Brian.
Yo, Brian said, "Yo, I didn't buy this shit. It can't be hot." But my thing is, listen,
Brian's gonna just wait for it to come on.
Yeah, but my thing is like, if Uncharted sold 2.8 million its first week, God of War is gonna sell more than Uncharted. That's without question.
Yeah,
really, like Uncharted is like the like poster boy for PlayStation.
But so is God of War, though. So is God of War.
Not more than God of War.
Yeah, not more than God of War. God of War has longevity over Uncharted. Uncharted has only been around since last gen. This shit's been out since PS2, man.
And keep in mind, if everybody was upset or tired of, had series fatigue with God of War, and then they essentially skipped a game, and so everybody's ready for a God of War game again.
Okay, can I ask Carl to do me a favor? Can you look at the sales of Uncharted games and God of War games and compare them, if you don't mind?
On it.
Cheers. Yeah, I just don't think that God of War is as in the zeitgeist as Uncharted will be in terms of general popularity.
Interesting, very interesting, because even because even when Uncharted 4 came out, it doesn't have nearly the same amount of chatter as I've seen with God of War. God of War is on a whole other level as far as like social media goes. It's crazy, man. I definitely think it's an unsell Uncharted, and there's more PlayStations out there now too. And people bought PlayStation just for this game. I'm telling you, this shit's gonna be a monster.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I forgot I had the numbers before when we did this prediction last time. I think there's over 70 million PlayStations in the wild now. I think when Uncharted came out, there was maybe close to 50 million.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, 40, 50, something like that. Yeah, go ahead.
I got the numbers.
Hit him with the numbers, man. Yo, man, this VG chart so shit don't count.
Motherfuckers, we did the math. That's all I'm saying. We sat here, we did the math. Go back and listen to the episode. Listen, if you want to hear us break it down and show our work, we did that on the episode. We'll give you the short version, but it sounds ridiculous. And mark our fucking words, you guys. Like, it sounds ridiculous, and that's the best time to be right, is when it sounds fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I will tell you how wrong I am, but I don't think I'm wrong here.
So Uncharted 1, I'm going to compare it to the mainline games. Uncharted 1 did 4.9 million. God of War 1 did 4.4.
This is lifetime sales?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted those first week sales, but anyway, go ahead.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm not that good.
Yeah.
Uncharted 2 sold 6.7 million lifetime. God of War 2, 4.0. Uncharted 3, 6.8. God of War 3, 4.8. So God of War is pretty much in the fours. Uncharted, 4 million up to 6 million. God of War, Uncharted 3, 6.8 million, and God of War 4, 10 million. So Brian does have a point there.
Oh no, I see where Brian's coming from, because Uncharted games have always sold more than God of War, but I think this God of War is an exception to the rule, and I think it's going to break the mold. So go ahead.
Also, we have more PlayStation 4s than when Uncharted launched.
Yeah, because the hype for this is like ridiculous. So
yeah. I think the hype is bigger, because remember, Uncharted 4, a lot of people I saw a lot of kind of Uncharted fatigue.
Yeah, exactly. It was just another Uncharted game, and people kind of they liked the game, but there were a good chunk of people who didn't like the game. I've seen almost nothing but universal praise for this game. The only people hating on this game are Xbots, basically. So yeah, it's gonna be a big seller. Right? NPDs are gonna be very interesting. I'm telling you right now, man.
It makes me happy.
I say that we'll all just like write down our predictions and then just wait it out.
Yeah,
I want to see this. Like, I'm actually excited. Like, see who's gonna eat some crow. Because
Brian, what if it's you though, man?
There's plenty of crow to eat over here, so I'm good.
Okay, I'm just saying you.
Don't worry. You know what, Dana in the chat, she could share because she has a whole stack of it that she's been eating.
Really, Dana?
KFC Kentucky Fried Crow, man.
Kentucky Fried Crow. She's like.
Yeah, but yeah, this game I predict is going to be a beast of a seller.
So, yeah. So does that mean? So Brian, you like eating crow? So that means you like eating crow, and you be seasoning that crow up.
I know. It's just like there's a surplus of crow because I'm not eating crow that often. So hence there's like plenty of crow to eat. That's why.
By the way, this is the first time I've ever seen this, but universally, and not just on my friends list, pretty much anybody I talk to who's friends list, everyone's just playing God of War.
Yeah,
dude, and that's the same thing. I logged in 17 people on, 15 playing God of War.
Yeah. By the way,
when God of War 3 came out, everyone was playing that game.
But it wasn't getting the hype of this one. Even Xbox guys are playing this game, man. This is crazy right now. You know?
Hey, I'm just telling you.
Xbox One right now.
It shouldn't be crazy because it's a fighting game. It's an action game.
Yeah. So, by the way, Diptop says, and I want to know where you're getting these numbers. He goes, today, the new God of War officially has sold 33% more in physical sales than any other in the UK. Interesting. We'll see, man.
He's actually getting that from pushsquare.com. I've seen the same figures. But they didn't say how many numbers it was, just a percentage increase, which is really annoying.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't tell us much. All right, so let's move on. So yeah, keep those prediction numbers around. We'll see who's right.
Also,
soon.
Did I give mine?
What are yours, Carlos?
Yeah, you said 2.5 million.
Oh, that's before. Yeah, that's before I saw the Uncharted numbers. The Uncharted was 2.7, right?
Yeah.
2.9.
All right, man. And the final question here from Life and Times podcast, a very controversial question.
Controversy, eh?
What are your thoughts on Twitch thoughts? He's talking about the titty streamers. Do you feel they ruined the credibility of websites like Twitch and YouTube? Nobody wants to jump in first, so I'll fucking do it.
The what now?
Right? Titty streamers. You know those girls that go on Twitch and YouTube. They have these like low cuts. Like what are those called? Tank tops or whatever. Yeah, very low cut, showing a lot of Cleveland, and guys are throwing money at them and shit. Do you feel that they ruined the credibility of streaming sites?
Well, you know what the thing about this is? They're just taking advantage of stupid people.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. That's if that's the game, and they're just taking advantage of guys who've never seen a friggin' pretty girl and take advantage of the fact that they're giving them a couple of seconds of attention, and all power to them.
Yeah,
yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm kind of split on it. Like I have real beef with fake nerd girls. Like
I don't think they're fake nerd girls. I think a lot of them are actually really good players and stuff.
Yeah, they're just using what they got,
Well, here's where I go with it. I have a real problem with fake nerd girls. I got beef with Olivia Munn. But if you are actually knowledgeable, experienced, and good at the things that you are showing and talking about, then you were just kind of utilizing your assets. Let's all be honest here. We want to listen or talk to somebody who's better at speaking than none of us on here are stuttering introverts. And there's a reason for that, because those kind of people generally don't like to be on podcasts all that much. And B, you guys don't want to hear those kinds of people. In the same fashion, you're going to want to see prettier people. And I'm sorry, none of us are super pretty. But if, that's kind of human nature. You put a pretty girl who's equally knowledgeable about something and charismatic up next to a awkward stuttering guy, and more people are going to watch the girl. That's human behavior. There's nothing you can do to change that. That's been in marketing for decades.
My thing is, I don't have a problem with anybody making money, right? And if they're making money this way by using their God-given assets, more power to them. You know what I'm saying? I have absolutely no problem with that. And here's the other part of it, because, by the way, let me back it up a little bit, because this question kind of came from last night during my God of War stream. Wiz was in there, and he said that he got banned from one of these, like, you know, public chats, just like we are right now, because he said, like, oh, you know, he pretty much told the girl, the only reason these guys are giving you money is because you're showing your tits. My thing is, why do you need to go in there and say that shit? Why are you ruining their fun? If these guys want to, apparently one guy threw like $3,000 Canadian dollars at her, and he felt that was wrong of him to do that. Why? That's his money. Let him do what he's gonna do. You know, think about it like this: he's getting attention from that girl. She's getting, you know, she's making money to keep doing what she's doing. Everybody wins.
No, they don't. Okay, but see, now that's the problem, because then the biggest earners become those people, and the focus.
And what's
is
wrong? And what's wrong with
people.
that? And what's wrong with that? If they're making their money do their thing, I don't really see an issue with that. You know, I don't see a problem. I wish we got 3,000 Canadian dollars, but we ain't like that.
Take off your shirt. Let's get this.
Yeah, right. Let's go.
That's the thing. You know why we're not getting people
hairy ass tits and shit.
You know why we're getting. And that motherfucker throwing $3,000 at somebody isn't doing it because of, you know, the reason we don't get $3,000 thrown at us is because nobody's like, dude, these guys love video games so much I want to throw thousands of dollars at them. Nobody throws thousands of dollars at a chick in a boobie shirt for her love of video games. Everybody knows what the fuck is going on there. Yeah, that is a little fucked up.
I don't know. I don't think that's a problem. That's just human nature. No. Guys like to do that shit. They're like, you know, this isn't the equivalent, right? But it's like. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say because I'm, you know, with how sensitive it is. But guys like to throw money at pretty girls, right? Whether it be in real life or digitally, it's the same kind of thing. I mean, it's different in the sense of like, yeah, they're not like, you know, really showing off anything crazy. And those girls that do that, really show off their tits, they get fucking banned instantly because you're not supposed to do that. But it's human nature or male nature to give money to pretty women. That's just the way it is. You can't get mad over that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's like, you know, the thing is that's if she figures that that's the best way she can do it, then that's and it works out, then why not? I don't have an issue with it because it's. I know. I just called call it a kind of a rope-a-dope situation.
Can we be honest with ourselves here? If we were hot girls, we do the same damn thing easily.
I would not.
I would do it in an instant. Make that money. You know, instantly.
See, I don't really like you'd exploit people just because.
How is that exploiting? They're willingly doing it. They're willingly doing it.
People willingly go into deals with con men all the time. That doesn't mean they don't get fucking conned. Just because you walk into a situation doesn't mean you're not being exploited.
But if you walk into it willingly, but there's nothing.
With a low cut shirt.
That's
advertising something that they're not going to get.
Yeah.
The guys giving money know what they're getting into.
Yeah, exactly. You can't begrudge them that.
Like this is like not a loot box situation.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's a loot box, and I'm not even. I see this as a bigger thing than between the guy giving the money and the girl getting the money, because there's another channel with other people who don't necessarily want to show their breasts or don't have breasts to show or you know are dudes that are having trouble getting together the money to keep the lights on when these other people who know
prostitution.
What's that?
Are you against prostitution? Like just for prostitutes? Like, do you think that's a bad thing?
No. I just think it should be relegated to other things. Like, look,
by the way, just to clear this up, we are not equating titty streamers with prostitutes. Just getting that out there.
I'm just saying. But I'm equating titty streamers to cam girls.
Maybe he has a thing. Maybe he just has a thing about just women showing anything or doing anything.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
no, not at all. Not at all. I'm just saying. Look, if you're gonna make a channel that's centered around showing your boobies, you go and put it with the other channels with girls. With the other place,
just have big girls and it just looks that way.
But they're not cam girls, man. Cam girls are doing.
They're a half degree from cam girls.
No, they're not. How are they a half a degree? If the girl, check this out. If the girl's playing games the entire time and you just so happen to see tits, how is that the same as a girl like putting things in herself? You know, come on, man. That's totally different.
Whoa. I'm not talking about a things in herself kind of game. Maybe I'm not really
sure. When you talk about cam girls, you know,
I'm talking about booby cams and shit.
Right. I have a good joke here. Like, yeah, like Tony, like they are really close to being cam girls. I mean, all they have to do is just like lick something like provocative, like a controller or PSP, and what do you know? They're a cam girl.
And they're gonna get banned if they do that shit. You know?
I got the joke.
Yeah, but they're gonna get banned, dude. You know?
No, I caught that, Brian.
Yeah, Dip Top, you already asked us 2 questions, brother. But yeah, so again, I don't have a problem with this. I'm for capitalism. That's fine. They will make the money this way. You go ahead and make your money. You know, I got no problem with that.
I don't have any issues with it, but it's not something that I would pay money for. But some people do, you know, some guys really, you know, enjoy these girls and really think that they're cool and whatever. So, I mean, maybe they feel like that their money's going in the right place, and there you go. I don't have an issue with it. I don't see it also as I don't see it as any sort of lie. I mean, a lot of the girls that are playing these things are actual gamers playing. They just so happen to be really nice looking girls.
And you know what? I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. Even if they're fake, it doesn't fucking matter. You guys are allowed to do whatever the hell they want with their money. You know, even if they're fake.
Do y'all know strippers? I'm just curious.
You mean personally know strippers? No, I don't know. I don't personally know any strippers, but I have met many in my life. What happened, Adam?
I dated one for a while, and she showed up at my wedding. She's friends with my wife.
All right, Brett, continue.
Oh no, I've known strippers, and I've known stripper types like that do the same thing. Like I knew a chick that used to work at Sonic that was a stripper at a certain point, and she found this, you know, lonely old dude, and she would chat him up in the car and wouldn't do anything. Just she knew the guy just was really lonely, wanted attention, and he'd give her money, and she'd be like, all right, fine, I'll take your hundreds of dollars. And he kept showing up and kept giving her money. And she didn't have a problem with that. And I asked her, I was like, why do you not see the issue here? He's like, well, he wants to give me the money. He's happy. I'm happy. What's the fucking problem here? I was like, if he stopped giving you the money, would you stop hanging out with him? And she's like, well, yeah. I was like, see, that's the problem, is you found somebody so lonely and so desperate that you're willing to be the person that exploits them. And your excuse is, if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else.
But that guy is happy. That's the Anna Nicole Smith situation right there.
Yeah.
No,
right.
that guy is not happy.
He knew what he was doing. He even said it before he died. He was like, I can't get someone like this unless I have money.
It's like you think enabling's not a thing. Like you can enable a stranger to continue bad behavior. If he wasn't sitting there taking $1,200 a month out of his pocket.
But yo, if you're rich and you're 80 years old, right, and you're alone, but you know you have money to go buy you some happiness for the remaining few years you have left, you're gonna tell me you're not gonna do it?
By buying happiness, you mean being strung along, thinking I have a chance with somebody?
Well, if I keep for what? You're gonna die soon. You're old as shit. What do you care? Strung along for what? Just make whatever you have the time left fun. That's
Who said
it.
this dude was 80?
I'm saying that old people. I'm talking about the whole Anna Nicole Smith, which is the same type of thing because her family sued. Well, his family sued her because he left her all kinds of shit. And they were like, no, she doesn't deserve it because she was only with him for the money. And he was like, well, he got something out of it too. He knew what this was. So it's the same thing. So your friend there is not in the wrong. The guy clearly has the money. He's willing to pay for it and just move on. That's it.
Yeah, and I completely agree with Adam there. Like, there's nothing wrong in that whole situation. If that guy's willing to give her money,
yeah,
that's on him. You know, that's on him. It is making him happy. It's making her happy. Everybody wins. You know, everybody wins. I don't see a problem with that.
That same logic could be applied to heroin users and heroin
dealers. No, but that's the difference. They're hurting themselves. They're hurting themselves doing that. That's not the same logic at all. No, this guy is not physically hurting himself by giving money that he clearly has. If the guy's like, you know, broken shit and giving her money, that's a problem. But if this guy has money, if he has money to give, there's no problem there. You know,
or if the guy's doing the thinking that's going to lead to a relationship, and that's his whole thing. It's like,
that's a problem too.
Eventually, she's going to want me.
There's that line. Yeah, if he crosses the line, then he's at fault because there needs to be understanding. It's like, listen, we're not going to go any further than this. You give me money, I show you titties, and that's
what the $3,000. And see, that's the problem. I don't have a problem with people watching these channels. Throw 5, 10, 15, $20 these people's way. But when you have shit like you're pulling in $3,000 hooks, like that's when some shit is very wrong. And honestly,
how is it? What if this guy's a millionaire and $3,000 he could wipe his ass with? What if he doesn't care about that?
It's not a big deal. You hear video game companies talking about whales all the damn time.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, those $3,000 aren't gonna go to anyone else. So it's like it's not even like a thing about these $3,000 could have gone to someone who really is doing a moral job or whatever. What it is.
But you're implying that it's immoral to do that.
Yeah. What if the guy was just, beating the meat and he's clicking away and he really just wanted to put $3 and he fucked up?
No, but you've seen that. I've seen guys give like $10,000. But again, if they have the money to throw, go ahead. There's not a problem with that. You know, it's their money. It's interesting. By the way, people in the chat seem to be divided on this, just like we are on this show. Some of them agree with Brett. Some agree with us. Very interesting.
It's definitely an interesting. It's definitely an interesting situation because it's like, at one end, it's like, could they be taking advantage of people, of weak-minded people? On the other hand, there's also just like, do these people actually think that they're getting anything else more out of the situation than what they think they are getting? I can't rationalize and doing that.
Yeah,
but maybe
I was going to say there needs to be that understanding. It's like, okay, you're going to give all this money, so go. You have to realize you're not getting any further with her at all. She lives in fucking like 3,000 miles away from you. Nothing's going to happen. She's going to say thank you, and that's it.
Then if you do show up, obviously, if somebody does decide to show up at that girl's place, obviously she ain't gonna welcome him in.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm Larry 667. I gave you $10 million on the other day.
Yeah.
No, but there's even the sense, like, if you want to really drill down into it, okay, so this guy that you're throwing $300 who's throwing $300 a week at, and you're talking to him, like, yeah, sure, he's satisfied because he's had some companionship. You're happy because you've had money. How about instead just telling him you'll hang out with him? And this is what I told her. Instead, don't take the money. Just be like, you don't need to pay me to hang out with you. You seem like a genuinely good person. I'm actually concerned for you. You seem pretty lonely. Give him some dating advice. Give him some advice on how to get out there. Help him be like, look, maybe you want to, shave a little, dress up. I've heard there's a really good bar down there. I'll tell you what, why don't I take you out to the bar and, help you chat somebody up. Be a good person and go out of your way to solve this person's problem instead of just profiting off of it. Just because you're in a position to profit off of it does not mean you're not being exploitative. The best people I know at my sister's wedding this weekend, my brother-in-law met one of his best friends because his best friend was stranded in Japan and managed to lose his coat in the middle of winter, his passport, and his wallet. And he met my brother-in-law, Ewell, who bought him a new coat, paid for his new passport, and bought him dinner. He literally fed and clothed a stranger. Did he need to do that? No. That's what makes him a good person. Okay, now we're talking about the opposite end of that, where you see where somebody's willing to just shovel money out at you in this particular Sonic Girl situation. And instead of taking steps to help this person better their life, you take the easy route because it's profitable for you. I can't help but see as one being more justifiably morally correct than the other. Just because you can feed. Because you're feeding off of somebody's vulnerability instead of helping them out of it. That is exploitation.
What if she doesn't care about that? What if? Go ahead, Adam.
What if that guy has a bunch of Sonic girls? You know what I mean? Like, this is how he rolls. He's got it that way.
Then again, it's like, I mean, why are we doing a 2 or 1.5 hour podcast while we can spend this time helping the poor?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Exactly.
Why do we do this instead of working more, though? Like, people like hearing us. So, and if they like hearing us, then cool. Then they enjoy it. And we've had enough viewers say that we add things to their lives. So yeah, we could be helping the poor. Who says that we're in a way not? And who says that we also don't help the poor on the side? I know I do charity shit.
What if they start throwing thousands of dollars at us?
With the Sonic Girl could say he's reimbursing her for the happiness that she's providing in his life.
There you go.
It's a service.
It's a service. Yeah.
It's a disproportionate pay for a service that shouldn't be paid for.
Happiness.
Yeah,
you have to pay for friendship.
Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't
care. Talk to people who are in fraternities.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't care. He's like, hey, listen, I know she doesn't care about me, but I like looking at her. Fuck it, I'm giving her my money.
Of course he doesn't care.
Or again, like, we don't know the mentality that goes behind a lot of these guys. Maybe it could just be that they genuinely really like this this gamer, and they want to throw some money at her. I don't see the issue with it. I mean, unless she's starting to go out like, hey, you sons of bitches out there, like, in other words, it's all disingenuous. Yeah, I can definitely see a problem with it, but again, she is also, you have to kind of think about those sorts of things when you get into those sorts of situations. You do have to realize that in general, that when you're throwing some money at somebody, you probably, there is the goodness of your heart, but there also is the possibility that person may have manipulated you into that situation.
By the way, Hussein mentioned, I just want to mention this real quick. Hussein mentioned, this is the type of shit that will have effects in the future. No, because the people who get suckered into this kind of stuff will not procreate. That's all I'm gonna say.
And I don't even think it's suckering.
think,
They know what they're doing, man.
I think
they don't.
I
Okay,
I definitely think there are those that do understand what they're getting into, but I also think that there are other people, especially with the way the internet is. Some people just do not know how to read other people, and they just do these things because they enjoy it. And they don't put any question onto that sort of stuff.
Dude, it is not. All I'm going to say, it is not okay for me to overcharge somebody $200 on a tattoo, quote, because they don't know any better. And the tattoo artists that I know that hold the opinion of, well, fuck, they should know better. Or if they don't know better, then they should have negotiated the price, or they should have come in. They should have done their homework. Like, I know people that are like, well, fuck, man, if they'll leave paying $600 and they're happy about it, then everything's fine. No, that was a $400 tattoo all day long. You took advantage of somebody who didn't know any better, and you know it in your heart. And I refuse to accept that idea that as long as they leave smiling, then they're okay. Because I am in that situation daily with people who don't know any better. They don't know what a tattoo is worth. So yeah, if I tell them I charge $125 an hour and I charge them $600 and get done in 2 hours, have I overcharged them? I know that I have. I know that
So if you do a tattoo and it's 125 and the guy says here's 400, and you're like, why? I told this 125. It's like, yeah, I just think it's worth 400. You're not gonna take it?
No, at that point, that is for me going above and beyond. I've gotten tipped really well because I've given people really good deals, or because I bent over backwards to make sure that their experience is good. And I really appreciate them reciprocating that, because honestly, by the end of those things, it's like, look, I spent 16 hours drawing this thing and 4 hours tattooing it. I only got paid for those 4 hours tattooing it. I really appreciate the $200 tip, because you understand that I went so far above and beyond in an effort to provide good service to you, because I went above and beyond my job. You've recognized that and paid me above and beyond what I asked. And so I know in our future relationship, I can continue to go above and beyond.
But Brett,
because yes,
this is all in the eyes of the person receiving the service. Like what good service is to you might be different than another person. It's like some people don't see getting tattoos as anything like positive to do in your life.
Well, and that's fine. And if they don't tip me, I don't treat them any different.
No, I'm saying
the thing.
There are people who will say, what's the point of getting a tattoo? There are other people who will say getting a tattoo is a form of expression. It's like the service means different things to different people. And for some people,
that doesn't change the worth of the thing that I do. There is an hourly rate that it varies area to area, but it has a national average. There is a pay scale for us. We don't just pull numbers out of our asses. I can look at a tattoo somebody has brought in, and if they say I paid $1,000 for this, I can tell them whether or not they overpaid or underpaid. There is,
but they're like, for example, they're not the Twitch streamers or whatever are not setting the price.
Yeah, it's people just giving that money on their own.
They're the ones saying, "Man, this is worth $3,000."
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, on that note, because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark, we're gonna end this right now.
We still got 3 more hours. Come on,
right. This ain't WrestleCast. This ain't WrestleCast.
WrestleCast program.
This ain't WrestleCast, man. We got
like incredibly quick, Tony. Like really quick.
Right, real quick.
As you've seen, it's a very complicated topic, and we'll talk about it afterwards. But as you can see, there's no real right answer. There's no real wrong answer. There's just too many things involved, and I think this conversation has just shown that.
I agree with Brian. All right. Perfectly said. All right, man. So thank you for watching and listening. Leave us a question in the comment section of this episode here on YouTube or over on the Coalition, and we'll answer them on next week's show. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Mixer, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and joined by Emilio Lopez.
Indeed, boy.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
I won't be here this Thursday for obvious reasons.
Oh, shit. Brett Murdoch.
Deuces, everybody.
Adam Vale.
I'm off to see an anime called Redline.
Oh, my man. And Brian Manjoma.
Carlos, before you ask, yes, I have seen Moonlight.
Oh shit, we're gonna talk about this after the show. All right, guys, we'll see you on Thursday, or at least most of us will. I predicted some of us may not be here that night. Anyway, later.
Lady guys.
Peace.
See you, everybody.